Hello! Welcome back to the Green Light.
Green light! Nice. I like that. We kind of teased it there and then really dove in. Doved it in.
Dubba-dibba-din.
Hey everybody, I'm Jackson.
I'm Lauren.
And this is the Green Light, as Lauren already said. And Lauren, what do we do here on the Green Light?
We read unproduced plays and screenplays and interview the fantabulous people who write them.
And that's exactly what we're doing today.
Yeah, so a little bit of housekeeping things real quick. So as you might know, this is releasing the Friday before Christmas.
Yes.
Next Friday is Christmas. As such, we will still be releasing an episode, but we actually want to do something a little different, something kind of fun. So
as we like doing with our holiday episodes.
Yeah. So what we want to do, we want to put you on the green light.
Oh.
So what that means is that we are going to talk about our favorite Christmas movies. So we are asking some of our family and friends, and then, of course, all of you listeners who want to submit something, to just record 30 seconds or so of you talking about your favorite Christmas movie. So
Yes.
all you need to say is like, oh, your name. It can just be your first name if you want. It can be your Instagram handle if you just want to self-promote a little bit. That's fine. Say, your name, where you're from, or just where you're recording from, and your favorite Christmas movie and why in like 30 seconds to a minute.
Yeah, I'd say probably keep it under a minute would be best, I would say.
And then send that to our email, which is tglsubmit@gmail.com. That'll be in the description.
Yes.
And yeah, we will feature it on the show. Just make sure when you submit it that you don't curse or anything. Obviously, the script is kind of an exception there, but on the intro and the interview parts, we always try not to curse.
Yes.
So,
also,
keep it clean.
Also, we'll be taking a survey doing these as well. We also want you to say, and this will be very brief, so I won't add much, if you think Die Hard is a Christmas movie. So give us your favorite Christmas movie.
Jackson just threw that at me. I didn't know what he was going to say.
And then your opinion. Yeah, Lauren's eyes went very wide.
I was
She
like,
said,
what?
Survey? Yes, we're taking a survey to see which Green Light host you like the best. No, I'm kidding. Obviously not.
Wait a minute.
I wouldn't want to massacre Lauren like that. But I'm kidding. I love you. You're better than me in any way.
I'm leaving.
Anyways.
You can run this podcast with Bill.
So, yeah, happily, man. Bill's been waiting. Bill's been slowly poisoning one of us so that he can come on and take over. But no.
Anyway, submit your clips, and also if you
Yes.
think Die Hard is a Christmas movie,
Yes.
to tglsubmit@gmail.com.
Yes.
We will listen to them and splice them all together for a fabulous Christmas episode.
Yes, and since it will take some splicing, since it will take a little bit of work, as all of these episodes, like
all these episodes take a lot of work.
Yeah, like our other podcast, by the way, listen to that. We will actually. When you're hearing this, it'll probably have been out for over a day at this point.
Yeah.
The Who Is That? The Masked Singer podcast, because the finale of The Masked Singer was this week, I guess. We're about to watch it actually, but
Weird
from when you're
timelines
listening
going
to
on
this,
here.
it's wild the way technology works. But that one is super easy to edit because it's just us spouting off nonsense for 45 minutes to an hour. But this one, obviously, with editing the scripts and editing everything together and the music and everything, it takes a little bit more.
Yeah.
And this one will too. So if you appreciate all the hard work that Lauren and I do, whether it be editing or our opinions, etc., subscribe to our Patreon.
Yeah, it'll be.
Link will be
we
in our
would love you
description.
so much for a fabulous Christmas present. But yeah, that link is always in our description. You can subscribe for as low as $1 a month.
Yes.
And we release all kinds of bonus content. Every month we do a Green Lit episode, and this month we are actually doing another road trip episode. We are reading an original epic poem from one of our former playwrights, The Tales of Grindleshire.
Yes. So that'll be beefy. Yeah. And then also another Greenlit, as we mentioned. Actually, probably be releasing that in a couple days by the time you listen to this.
Yeah, because we're recording that on Saturday.
Yeah.
So yeah, the day after this is released.
And what should we reveal?
We've talked about it before. We're doing the TV special, The Year Without a Santa Claus, one of my favorite Christmas movies ever that Jackson has never seen.
Correct. I am a fraud.
Yeah.
But anyways, on this episode, I think that's most of the housekeeping things we have. Follow us on social media.
Wait, I need to see if we have iTunes reviews. You talk about something.
Yes. So I was just going to say, on this episode, we are going to be reading a script by Matthew Rodgers, Mr. Puddles. Mr. Puddles, it's another funny script. Like we said, we got a month full of funny scripts in this holiday season.
Yeah.
It mentions Santa Claus. So it's kind of a Christmas film.
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually going to put this in the description as well. A little bit of a content warning.
Oh,
there
true.
are some Santa Claus spoilers in this. And there's also cursing in it, like a lot of our scripts have.
Yes.
So hopefully you're not listening to this with your small children. But
yes.
just in case, yeah, this is not one you want to listen to with small children that believe in Santa Claus.
Correct. Because he's real.
Yes.
He's real. And we only affirm that. However, don't let them listen.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. I don't
see
think
any new
we
ones
have any more
when I looked before. Yeah.
new reviews. So if you want to give us a free Christmas present,
true.
leave us an iTunes review.
That would be a free Christmas present.
I will say, if you don't feel like recording a whole 30-second clip, you can also leave an iTunes review and say what your favorite Christmas movie is.
And we'll read it on the episode as well.
Yes, we will.
So let's get started with our first segment. Before we jump to the script, before we jump into the interview, we're going to give you some things that we liked this week, some things that we watched, consumed, listened to, in this case, in our Detour segment.
Detour segment.
So, how about I go first, you go, and then I end us off, since I kind of have two.
Oh, you have two? Oh,
Yeah,
that's right,
remember?
you do have two, yeah.
So, this first one is very stupid, and I'm just going to talk about it briefly. Then Lauren has something. Then I will end it off with a different Christmas special, in fact. But, so this first one... So, this is another, I guess it's kind of a competition reality show, right?
Yeah, we have a lot of those.
Yeah.
We really love them.
Yeah, we do. And I haven't seen too many episodes of this. However, it's something I wanted to briefly mention. BattleBots is a TV show on, I actually don't know what channel it's on.
What is it, like TMZ or something? I don't know.
Is it, wait, TMZ's not, is TMZ a network? It's on USA.
Never mind.
It is on USA.
It does make sense that the same entity that airs
Wrestling.
WWE Raw would also airs
BattleBots. So,
same vibe.
If you are not familiar with BattleBots, let me get you familiar. BattleBots is an American robot combat television series. Competitors design and operate remote-controlled, armed, and armored machines designed to fight in an arena combat elimination tournament. So, I'm sure you have heard or have seen BattleBots at some point in your life.
See, I hadn't
clips
until
from
like
it.
last week.
You'd never even heard of it.
No.
Wow. Maybe it's just because I was a teenage boy at one point and liked explosions.
Yeah.
I
well,
still
and
kind
I
of
don't
do.
know. I was a teenage girl with two younger sisters, so I guess I just was never exposed to that.
You might have missed the battle boat.
I might have missed it.
You might have missed the battle
boat,
if you will.
The bot boat.
The bot boat. So yes, we have a little more time on our hands. We're still working. The good thing about the entertainment industry is that you really get like a full 2 weeks off for Christmas. So I will be having like a full 2 weeks off. But we overall we all have a little bit more time. It's the holidays. Things are winding down. So we originally got. Oh God. Actually, I realized something else we could talk about. Or I could talk about, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to, though.
Jackson, this is unlistenable.
Yeah. So, BattleBots, we found BattleBots on YouTube TV because we have a free trial for it. Watched it. It is wild. It's ridiculous. If you like metal robot carnage, you will like BattleBots. If you like explosions, you will like BattleBots. If you like people who wear fedoras or, our
crazy
teams,
top hats.
Yeah, you will like BattleBots. And that's all I'll say, because Lauren said it was unlistenable.
Oh, I'm sorry. You were just rambling a lot, that's all.
I'm done.
Okay.
Got her.
Well, now I'm sad.
She'll feel bad for the rest of the night.
Anyway, it's fine.
Got her.
Whatever.
I'm kidding. But yeah, BattleBots is on USA. If you have YouTube TV, you can watch it. They just started a new season, actually. So there's a new episode comes out on Thursdays. So if you have the time, watch BattleBots. It's fun. I like it. I don't know.
No, I mean, I watched a little bit of an episode, and there's a lot of filler in between the fights, which was my biggest criticism.
Sure.
But the actual fights are pretty fun to watch.
It's pretty long, too. It's like 2 hours long.
Yeah.
So just be prepared for that.
Again, definitely the same network as wrestling.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right.
Go ahead, Lauren.
Is this the first album we've had? I'm trying to remember if you did one.
To my knowledge, this is the first album we've had.
I'm trying to remember, because I knew at one point you thought about doing folklore, but I don't know if you did.
I might have mentioned it, but I don't think I actually did.
Well, anyway,
If we're wrong, tell us in the comments.
My detour of the week, even though I think I might have listened to it for the first time last week, is the new Miley Cyrus album, Plastic Hearts, which... So, first of all, I think I've mentioned this on the Masked Singer podcast. Miley Cyrus could poop on a plate and say, eat it, and I'd be like, okay.
Why'd you have to go with that metaphor?
I don't know.
There are many other metaphors you could have chosen.
Miley Cyrus, I just, like... It's funny because, you know, she's not someone that I was really a big fan of when she, like, was Hannah Montana and worked for Disney. Like, I was never really that into Hannah Montana. But, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I've been following her career pretty closely after leaving Disney, and you know, she's definitely gone through a lot of hard stuff and like has had to figure out how to kind of be her own person after having, you know, a famous dad and then starting a career as a child star with Disney and just trying to figure out who she is and who she wants to be and
being
all that
one of
stuff.
the biggest child stars
for sure. But anyway, so I think Plastic Hearts is Miley Cyrus's best album ever.
Magnum opus, if you will.
Ever. No, I just really think that she just really like came into her own with this album, and I think that she her voice is like just such a good rock voice.
It is. It's
and
a very
I mean,
good rock
so
voice.
much of her music has been like pop stuff because that was kind of what she was pushed into as Hannah Montana, and like a little bit of country because her dad is a country singer. But I feel like this album.
Who's her dad?
Oh my gosh. No, but this album has like a really strong combination of all of them, but with definitely the heaviest rock influence we've seen from her yet, which I really like. And I just like rock music in general. But you know, it really pays homage to like 70s, 80s, and 90s rock, as well as, you know, there are a couple songs that have just a little bit of a country twang, but it's okay, even though I'm not a big country person. But I just thought that with this, you know, like, the vocals were really strong, the lyrics were really strong, the melody was really strong. I thought it was much better than her 2017 album, Younger Now, which was still like a celebration, but I just thought it didn't have as much substance as this one. So I just thought this was really great. And she also just stuck a couple of covers on the end of this album that she's done, Heart of Glass and Zombie, which I appreciate because now I can listen to them on Spotify.
Yeah.
So
it has been really cool just to sort of see Miley's journey as an artist and as a performer. I just think it's super awesome to see how she has, you know, grown and how like diverse her career has been with you know, her styles and everything, and how I really do think she's kind of coming in her own now. I think it's really cool. I agree.
Yeah, because you know, I feel like a lot of like it happened with Lindsay Lohan too, but a lot of people who are child stars tend to, you know, have a little bit of a time when they like are just having a tough time, you know, once they get out of that child star and they're like, whoa, I'm finally free to do what I want.
Sure.
But yeah, so I feel like she's sort of definitely making a recovery from that and also just really learning how to be herself. So congrats, Miley. You're awesome.
I agree. Congrats. It's also interesting just listening to that album and then going back and listening to like, I don't know, Party in the USA or something like that.
Kind of crazy, yeah.
Just the stark contrast. Not everyone can do both. But
exactly.
Miley Cyrus can. So good for you, Miley.
Yeah.
So that's Spotify, Apple Music,
whatever. Plastic Hearts.
Yeah,
check it out.
Wherever you get your music streaming.
Boom.
Probably also can find it on YouTube for free. Yes, great choice, Lauren. Great choice. We don't do a lot of albums on here. I mean,
maybe we should.
Oh, it's fine.
We're not a music podcast.
That's not us. I also realized that music, like for me, I realize this about myself, is that music for me is very much like an emotional thing. Like it's not like I'm not good at being analytical with music.
Oh, in terms of like looking at the lyrics and the melodies and whatever.
Yeah, like if I look at the lyrics, but that's not why I listen to music.
Sure.
You know? And like if lyrics speak to me and I like they grab a hold of me, then I'll notice them. But
that's fair.
It's not always like, it's mostly emotionally for me. How does the song make me feel? I use it a lot when I work out, of course, as you know.
Yeah.
Etc. So
see, I feel like for me, the first listen of an album is an emotional thing. And then the second time is when I evaluate, like, okay, is this actually good?
Yeah, no,
you know?
No, for sure. I think I could do that with, like, rap better because I can focus on the lyrics more, you know? But that's just me.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just know I've been listening to this album on repeat, so.
She has. It's true.
Yeah.
She won't let me sleep. She just keeps it playing up in the night.
Keep playing plastic cards.
I say, Lauren, please stop. I'm trying to go to sleep. She just turns it up. She turns it up. Anyways, that's not true. Or you can decide for yourself. But let's end with a Christmas special, like I said. Olive the Other Reindeer is a 1999, it's like a medium film. It's like 45 minutes.
So it's TV like a special, probably.
Yeah, so it's like an hour-long TV special. This has a stacked cast. So starring Drew Barrymore, Dan Castellaneta, Joe Pantoliano, Ed Asner, Tim Meadows. I thought Steve Buscemi was in it. Steve Buscemi is not in it, but he sounds like one of the people. And it is directed by Steve Moore, written by J. Otto Siebold and Vivian Walsh. This is about a young dog. So when Santa cancels his annual flight because of a hurt reindeer, a young Christmas-loving dog named Olive is convinced she has what it takes to get Santa's flight off the ground and save Christmas. And the reason why she thinks that is because Santa puts out a call to all of the other reindeer.
Aha.
All of the other reindeer, but she hears Olive the other reindeer.
She says, me?
She said,
finally?
That's me? And then this movie is a bit of a road trip movie because it is her traveling to the North Pole with her penguin friend. It is obviously a Christmas movie with Santa and gifts and everything. It's a lot of fun. There is some genuine humor in this. Which is like, for Christmas specials, sometimes it's mostly about nostalgia, and this was a decent bit about nostalgia, but it also has some genuinely funny moments. The thing that I want to highlight about it is the animation. It is, because this is based off of a book.
Okay.
And so it's really cool how they sort of take like the way the characters were drawn and make it into into the movie, into the special itself. And I'll just say it. Some of the humans, especially some of the humans, they look kind of weird. They look kind of, it's like a weird mixture between like 2D and 3D animation. And it's really interesting the way that they do it. And it's mesmerizing, but also terrifying at the same time. Like you can't look away. You can't look away at what this is. Like, look at this man's face, Lauren. Look at this bus driver's face, voiced by Tim Meadows. That's Inhuman.
What on earth?
It's Inhuman, but he is a human. And yeah, so it's if you get a chance,
it looks like bad Picasso.
Yeah, it is. It's like almost Uncanny Valley, because it's like super close to humans, the way they should look, the way they do look, and so you kind of fill in the gaps.
A little off.
But when you really look at it, you're like, this doesn't feel right. But this is really accessible, actually, because the full thing is on YouTube. It's like full thing, good quality. You can hear the sound. It's in English, a lot of the ones you find them in other languages. But no, yeah, the full thing is on YouTube. Olive the Other Reindeer, 1999 Christmas special. I would suggest it, even if you just watch 15 minutes and see the animation. It's really cool, because I would say it's unlike anything we have today, for sure. Obviously, it's a little bit older, so that is partially because. But once again, just that animation style, I think, is super unique and is something that's not seen. So watch it for 15 minutes just to get that, get to the part of the bus driver, because I think that's sort of like the first act, end of first act is when she gets on the bus. So, watch that. If you don't like it, turn it off. If you do, which I think you probably will, you can keep watching for that full 45 minutes. It's rated G, so even if you have children, it's fine for them. All of the Other Reindeer on YouTube. Go watch it.
Go watch it. So, when we come back, we will be reading Mr. Puddles by Matthew Rodgers. We also have a guest actor this week.
We do have a guest actor.
Warren Foster. And if you'd like to contact him, his, I was about to say email, his Instagram will be in the description.
Lauren. Yes. So we got a whole bunch of new people coming up for you right now.
Next. Welcome back to the Green Light.
Green Light.
We are here with our guest actor this week, Warren Foster. Warren, how are you doing?
I'm all right.
Yeah, so give us a little bit about yourself, Warren. What do you do, who you are, etc.
But at the moment, just trying to figure out this acting thing. This is something new that I'm embarking upon. It's something exciting, but at the same time, it can be nerve-wracking because it's something outside of the norm that I've already done, which is work for government. I've done that for 20 years. I'm originally from Florida, currently residing in Washington, D.C.
Awesome.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, yeah,
awesome.
congrats on starting this acting thing.
Yeah, man.
Thank
It
you.
is.
Yeah.
It is a fun, wild, crazy profession. So we wish you all the best, of course.
Yeah, definitely right this second. It's very stressful. But,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, and thank you for doing this. By the way, our 3-hour time difference. We're on the West Coast, obviously. So thank you. It's about I guess it's almost 10 on the East Coast for
Yeah.
you. So thank you very much for for doing this for us.
Right on, not a problem.
Alrighty. So then I guess let's just go ahead and jump into it then, shall we? So today we are reading Mr. Puddles.
Yes.
Oh, do you have something to say?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
But yeah, let's go ahead and get started.
Yep.
So, I am Lauren. As you know, I will be reading for Stella.
And I'm Warren, and I will be reading for Kevin.
And I am Jackson, and I will be reading stage directions.
Well, action lines.
Action lines. I always do that, don't
We
I?
always mix them up.
Yeah, that's okay.
All right.
Interior house foyer day. Keys jiggle in the front door of a classic suburban home. In walks Kevin, early 30s, African-American, in a button-down with the sleeves rolled up and slacks. He struggles through the doorway with miscellaneous plastic and paper bags in hand.
Still, I don't know who you talked to down at Party City, but they didn't have those balloons you saw on Pinterest.
He carries the bags from the foyer into the kitchen. Interior kitchen continuous. Kevin sets the bag down on the white marble countertop. He looks around the house. It's oddly quiet.
Stella.
Kevin walks towards the living room, but something out of the window catches his eye. Digging in the backyard is a sweaty, distraught-looking Stella, 30s, wearing her traditional athleisure wear. Kevin exits through the back door. Exterior backyard continuous. Kevin watches as Stella furiously stabs the ground with a shovel, sending dirt flying.
Babe, I tried calling you. What's this?
Oh, good. You're here. Take over.
Stella hands him the shovel.
What? Is it for the party?
Not exactly.
Kevin spots a black trash bag behind the pile of dirt.
It's Kendall's dog.
Kevin's eyes widen.
Does Kendall know?
No, and she won't have to if I'm quick enough. She'll be home with the nanny at...
How is she going to celebrate tomorrow at a puppy-themed party without a puppy?
Where do you think I'm going, dipshit?
I can't do this. I can't morally bury my daughter's dog.
It's fight or flight, Kev. Either I fly out of here and get a replacement before she gets home, or we, as a family, get to have a long, long talk about death.
I think I'll take my chances with the talk.
Now is not the time.
Stella walks to the backyard gate and opens it.
Wait, where are you
He follows after her, setting the bag down. Exterior driveway continuous. Stella unlocks her car and gets in, quickly starting the car. Kevin runs up to the passenger door and opens it. He gets in to talk to Stella. Interior/exterior car driveway continuous. Stella is putting her seatbelt on as Kevin enters the car.
You can't leave. You have to bury the dog.
I told you that's your job.
And I told you, burying is a rejection of fate that forces us to lie to our daughter.
Guess I'll do it when I get back.
She reverses the car, sending Kevin flying forward.
What the hell?
Kendall gets home with the nanny in an hour. Before this, it was with me or without me, but then you got in the car.
Take me back.
No time.
Interior animal shelter day. Kevin and Stella stand gazing through an animal cage.
This is a terrible idea.
Come on, it could work.
In the cage is an all-white terrier with its head cocked to the side.
Mr. Puddles has spots.
We'll give him spots with animal dye or something.
Animal dye? Isn't that ethically wrong?
I see people do it for Halloween costumes all the time. Just look for a worker.
Kevin stands firm, arms crossed.
Just look at it like Santa Claus. A little white lie.
I'm also not in support of Santa. Why lie to our children just to give credit for our hard work to some? What are you doing?
Stella reaches her hand through the gate and undoes the lock. The door to the cage swings open.
Oh no. No. I'm not lying to our daughter and stealing in the same day.
It's a shelter dog. We're doing it a favor.
By putting it in eternal blackface?
What? No, by giving it a home.
She scoops up the dog while Kevin runs towards the door. Interior/exterior car/busy street. Day. Stella and Kevin sit in the front seat. The new Mr. Puddles sits in the back seat in the middle, wearing a seatbelt. Stella scans the busy street, looking for the right store.
Okay, where would one buy dog hair dye?
You seem pretty confident on that Halloween hypothesis. You see a Spirit Halloween nearby?
It's January.
Oh, guess we're shit out of luck then. Better tell our daughter that...
Thud. Stella makes a sharp left turn, sending Kevin's head into the passenger side window.
Ow! Walmart?
They have everything.
She pulls into a space.
Just stay here with the dog until I get back.
As Stella leaves, Kevin checks the rearview mirror. Mr. Puddles 2.0 is staring at him from the back seat.
Oh, don't look at me like that.
The dog keeps staring.
I'm not doing it, and you can't make me.
A glance back into those puppy dog eyes is all it takes before Kevin unbuckles his seatbelt and opens the door. Exterior Walmart parking lot, day. Kevin opens the back door, reaches in, and pulls out the dog. He sets it on the asphalt.
Go on. You're free. You don't want to live with my wife. She's crazy. She wants to make you look like a racist jester or Justin Trudeau on Halloween.
Mr. Puddles runs away. Exterior Walmart parking lot, day. Kevin leans on the car as Stella jogs up to it.
They didn't have Doggy die, but what happened?
I let the dog go. It didn't feel right.
Adopting a dog from a kill shelter didn't feel right to you?
Not under these pretenses.
Get in the car. We're finding that dog now.
Interior/exterior, car/back road, day. They are driving around looking for Mr. Puddles 2.0.
I cannot believe that you lack the judgment to properly understand the situation we're in.
I do. I judge properly. This is wrong.
People lie to their kids all the time.
About the tooth fairy and global warming and stuff, but not that. What happens when your mom dies?
Is that a threat?
No. I mean, do we tell her then, or do we scour the local retirement home for a new grandma Bootsy?
Obviously, we'll tell her. There.
Stella slams on the brakes, pointing off in the distance. Exterior side of the road, continuous. Stella creeps towards Mr. Puddles 2.0 as Kevin walks behind her.
I'll sweep around and we'll catch it before it even knows we're here.
They creep closer to the dog, Stella taking a wide circle around its position. As Kevin gets closer, he sees more clearly what the dog is doing. He gags.
Nope. I'm not. It's eating shit out of a Barbie dream car. I am not taking that dog home.
Stella grabs Mr. Puddles 2.0 and carries him towards the car, his face covered in poop.
Stella, please don't do this.
Stella opens the back seat.
Please. I take clients out in this.
She sets Mr. Puddles 2.0 in the back seat. Kevin groans out of defeat as Stella gets in.
We've still got time, despite your antics.
Kevin gets in.
Don't refer to my rational thinking as antics.
She starts driving.
The only person being rational here is my...
Don't you dare say yourself.
Without me, you would have caved.
Telling the truth is not caving.
Like how a 2-story townhome in the burbs isn't settling?
I didn't want to raise our daughter in some apartment in the city.
That's how I was raised.
Looks like I made the right decision then.
Excuse me?
Maybe a traditional upbringing will keep Kendall from lying to her daughter.
Stella is silent as she pulls into the driveway. Exterior driveway, continuous. She exits the car and grabs the dog out of the back. She walks inside, followed by Kevin.
Wow. So quick to get inside. I love driveways and not parking garages. Isn't suburban life just dandy?
Stella stops and turns towards him, frightening him.
Look, you're right, okay? I don't care. Just stop.
Kevin stands speechless, and Stella heads towards the front door. He did not expect this. He snaps out of it and jogs after Stella.
Stella, hey, I'm sorry.
Stella grabs the handle with her free hand and opens the door. Kevin jogs up beside her. Interior house foyer, continuous. Stella and Kevin stand in the doorway.
I just let this get them.
They look into the house to see Kendall, 5, huddled over the body of a dead dog laying in a torn open trash bag.
Fuck!
End of script. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Green Light Podcast. Thank you, Lauren. Lauren and I are here today at a lovely 10 a.m. PST Saturday, here with Matthew Rodgers, the writer of Mr. Puddles. Matthew, how are you today?
Hey guys, I'm doing great. I'm really excited to be here and to talk about this silly little script I wrote.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
We're excited to talk about Jesus Christ. It is 10 a.m., isn't it? We're excited to talk about it too. But we like to ask this from all of our guests just to get a little background. Where are you calling us from?
Yeah, so I'm usually based in Chicago, Illinois, but I'm actually calling you from my childhood bedroom at my parents' house. I'm here for the holidays, just Thanksgiving through Christmas, and trying to spend as much time with family I haven't seen in 10 months.
Awesome.
So it's a good time.
And where is
Fantastic.
that?
Houston, Texas.
Oh, Houston,
Houston,
Texas.
I realized I didn't say that.
Yeah. Houston, Texas. The closest I've been to Texas is driving to California from North Carolina a couple times. We stopped
just
in
cutting through the top of Texas.
Yeah, we stopped in Amarillo a couple times. So don't know if you're familiar with that, but that's where I've been in Texas.
It's a city I've heard of, but I don't think I've ever been there. Texas
big state.
Is far too big for me.
Yeah. It is. It's not totally unremarkable. There is. We had some pretty good barbecue there.
That's true.
We
did have
also
very good barbecue.
There was a cool art installation. What is that? Cadillac Ranch.
Yeah,
that's pretty sweet. So that's what we
Pretty
know
awesome.
of Texas.
Yeah, and you North Carolinians know barbecue. So.
Yes,
we do.
God,
It is different.
God,
it
we
is different
do.
barbecue, but both are very good. And yeah,
We
we definitely
also-
miss North Carolina barbecue.
That's what I was. Yeah, God.
You
I
really
do miss
can't
North
get
Carolina
any
barbecue.
good barbecue out here.
My God. All right. Well, Lauren and I are going home in a couple weeks, so hopefully, actually, like
A week from tomorrow.
8 days,
Yeah.
9 days. So yes, we will get some barbecue very soon.
It's awesome.
All right. So another question we like to ask everyone: give us your writer origin story.
Yeah. I've heard you guys ask this on the podcast before, and so I was trying to think, and it's just one of those things. I think I've always been writing for school projects, whatever it was. Like I was always the kid. It was a 1-page story, but I turned it into 8-page and made my mom type out like the 14 handwritten pages I had written on the bus home or whatever. But it was just like, I don't know, writing was something I always did. In middle school, I wrote a book, quote unquote. It was like 14 pages or whatever, about like my friends and I all getting superpowers because we got sent up into space or whatever. And I don't know how I still had friends after that, but they all really liked it. And I had a good time, and I've always loved writing, and got into film because I liked making stuff with my hands and wanted to make props. There was this YouTube channel, Indie Mogul, that showed people how to make props in their backyard BFX. Huge inspiration in my life. And at one point my mom was like, hey, you keep making these props, are you ever going to put them in a movie? And so I realized, well, okay, I should put them in a movie, which means I got to write a movie and make a movie. And so kind of fell in love with that whole process. And took 3 years of film class in high school. Shout out Mr. Ortiz, and went to school for it in undergrad, and now I'm getting my grad degree in it. So
Awesome.
it's definitely something I love, and that's the short version.
Wow, yeah. Congrats on that, getting your graduate degree in it. That's a huge accomplishment for sure. Do you still have any of those old scripts? Like any of them lying around?
Let's see. I mean, do I have? I don't know. That's a really great question. I'm sure a lot of them exist on a laptop that no longer runs, but I used Celtics for a long time, so I'm sure there's stuff buried in there from the early 2000s. I'd have to go digging, but that's something I've always wanted to do, is like go read an old script and rewrite it, and just see how much different it is now.
That would be so fun, actually.
Yeah,
so
I don't know if you happen to listen to this episode, but it was a while back when we did our road trip episode, and we interviewed the writer, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I started this script like 35 years ago, and then I just finished it in this past year."
Yeah.
We were like, "Whoa."
Wow. Yeah, exactly. A very impressive feat for sure. I actually have another question based off what you just said that'll kind of lead into us talking about your script. Are any of those props that you made, would they potentially make it in this film if you were to make it or produce it?
Oh, I'm glad that 13-year-old Matt wasn't making models of dead dogs.
That is true.
That feels like kind of the only significant prop from this movie. So I'm glad that I did not have any weird interests as a child. No, a lot of that stuff was like, sci-fi grenades or guns.
Sure.
I was really into that kind of stuff. And so taking Nerf guns and spray painting them a fun way.
Cool.
But no, nothing too realistic for this one.
Well, we'll have to figure out a way to work a sci-fi grenade into this one. I think it could be a lot of fun. But so let's jump into more of the script and talk about that. So obviously this is a comedy script, and it's genuinely funny, and which thank you for that, because some comedy scripts are not funny. So where do you find your inspiration for your comedy scripts and just scripts in general?
That, I think life is a great way to pull from, and other art. I think, as creators, we enjoy consuming what other people create. I know that this script was inspired by two separate jokes from a comedian of mine, or a favorite comedian of mine, where he's talking about like a dead horse. Nate Bargatze is the comedian in it, but he's talking about a dead horse. And he's like, we got to get another one who looks like this before the kids come home. And then he's got another joke about they had to put his dog down. And so he had to tell his daughter that they had to put the dog down. And his wife is like, how'd it go? You didn't tell her that I did it, did you? And so sort of combining those two things. In earlier drafts, Stella actually did kill the dog because she hated the dog. And then we realized that sort of takes away from the thematic truth of lying to your kids and what that does. And
definitely takes a darker turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it didn't feel right for Stella to be the one who killed Mr. Puddles. So that's sort of the inspiration for this. And I don't know, being inspired by things that exist and truths that exist in our world, and trying to put a funny spin on those any way I can. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you find harder to write? If you do write drama, do you find that harder, or do you find comedy harder to write?
I do write a little bit of drama. I think I find drama harder to write only because it is so much harder to be sad and have to feel sad. I think writing comedy is more fun because I have an improv background, and so it's so much more fun to just do improv at your desk while you're writing, and crack jokes and make yourself laugh the entire time, rather than trying to make yourself cry and exist in a headspace of sadness for an extended period of time while working on the piece. And so I guess drama is a little bit harder in that way because I don't like to be sad.
Sure.
Absolutely. I can agree with you on that one, I think.
Yeah, I hope no one does.
Yeah, no, I think it's so interesting because I know we've had guests come on before who have said, comedy is much harder to write for them. So I just think it's interesting, the different perspectives on the writing.
I feel like, an improv background would definitely help. I feel like as an actor, it definitely depends on how deep and heavy the drama is, but comedy can be hard for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So props to you for making it easy for yourself.
Yeah. So
thanks.
So both Stella and Kevin are described specifically with what they're wearing. So Kevin has a button-up and slacks, and Stella with athleisure. Do their outfit choices reflect anything about them as people that causes them to land on the side of the argument that they land on?
Sure. That's, that I'm sure deep down, subconsciously that was a choice that I made. I don't know. I think I just wanted Kevin to be that dad who's coming home from work, but had to go pick up something for his wife and gets home, and his wife who, for me, Stella's the kind of gal who wakes up at 5 a.m. because she's doing international business. And so by 2:30 she's done. And so she's always working from home, making calls on the treadmill that they have, or the Stairmaster or whatever in the basement. And so in a way, I think they do. Kevin is definitely a little more uptight and is wearing his button down and his slacks, and Stella is certainly trying to go with the flow and is dressed accordingly. Yeah, that's a great question, though.
Yeah, no, that exactly sort of what you were just saying is kind of how I was thinking about it. It's also in my mind, it was Kevin's kind of put together coming home, and he comes home to this mess.
Of a traditional working man, I guess. And then Stella is kind of oh, I have to keep everything together and keep this all perfect, And,
yeah. So yeah, it was interesting. I like it. And I guess that also sort of leads into our next question kind of because I think there's a really awesome mix of visual and physical comedy, as well as sort of verbal comedy, traditional jokes, etc. Is there a specific style of comedy you gravitate towards writing, or do you just like writing funny in general?
I think, I definitely come from I focus a little too much on the dialogue rather than the physical comedy. There are other people in my program who do physical comedy really great that I've, tried to read their stuff and emulate. Mm-hmm. But I think I grew up on a lot of just jokey, comedies. Every single jokey comedy is completely gone from my mind as I'm trying to think of one.
Of course.
But, I definitely think more about what people are saying, because I think for me that's funny. But, trying to emulate, like Edgar Wright, I think is such a great mix of both. And he really does physical comedy so well and visual comedy so well.
Yeah.
And so seeing what he does and there's no way to live up to the auteur that is Edgar Wright. But, if I could in some way channel that into my script, I would love to. But yeah, I definitely think more about dialogue rather than physical comedy.
Yeah, absolutely. So, a question for you, going off of that. Edgar Wright is the one who did Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, that trilogy, right?
Yes, sir.
Which is your favorite in that trilogy?
Oh, so I'm my thesis film right now is a zombie movie.
Oh,
and so
okay.
I've watched Shaun of the Dead quite a bit. It's a zombie comedy. And so watching that movie a lot for inspiration and seeing how he handles the world and exposition and all that. So I definitely deep down really, really love that movie. But I think there's something about Hot Fuzz that really just feels right. I love that, like that long shot where it's just Simon Pegg walking to the camera for 50 seconds.
Yes.
I think it's such a ballsy move, but he pulls it off so well, and it's so funny. I think separately from the Cornetto trilogy, though, Scott Pilgrim is my favorite Edgar Wright movie, and Baby Driver. I mean, all of his movies are iconic, so I can't really.
For sure.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I think I gravitate a little bit towards Shaun of the Dead as well, just because that's the first one that I watched, and that sort of almost introduced me to him. So yeah, that's where I land.
Yeah.
Totally.
So the majority of the script is obviously funny, but towards the end, Stella and Kevin kind of dive into some real issues that may have been bottled up for a while about, oh, well, I like living in the suburbs, and, well, I grew up just fine in the city. Oh, well, maybe you didn't grow up just fine. So do you think this event caused their relationship to have some issues, or was this just more of a catalyst for their existing problems to ignite?
Yeah, I definitely think it's the second. I am an actor as well, and we're always taught, like, you got to make someone laugh before you can make them cry. It's the only way to get that emotion out of them is to get them to laugh first. And so I definitely knew that I wanted it to be funny and then have a little bit of realism at the end and really see what this couple would be going through and what this would bring to the surface. This is fourth or fifth draft or whatever that I had to do for class, and people really wanted to know what this would bring out of them, what these arguments would bring out. And so, there's stuff about Santa that's earlier on, and the Easter Bunny and Grandma Bootsy and all that. But I think ultimately, when you get characters fighting like this, especially a married couple, they're going to start poking each other's buttons better than anybody else, pushing each other's buttons better than anybody else. And so you kind of run out of ammo, both as a screenwriter and as a person, when you're trying to have these fights. And so you start to gravitate to the more personal things, the things that you've argued about, or maybe you've tried to start arguing about, but it's been cut short because you've had to go feed the baby or whatever.
Sure.
And so it's these things that they've maybe wanted to say to each other in the past, but it's never been the right time, or maybe Kevin feels like he didn't win that argument 2 years ago, and so now he's bringing it up again, trying to get some sort of revenge. But yeah.
I had an acting teacher who used to say it's never about the dishes in reference to fights. The immediate fight might be about the dishes, but it's really about something much bigger that they've been thinking about for a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
And I love the sentiment that you said, you have to make someone laugh before you can make them cry. And I think it sort of goes back to what you were saying with just writing drama in general. I feel like, when you're in that full headspace of a drama, you're like, okay, I expect to cry in this movie. Sometimes you kind of put your guards up because, especially if in that moment you don't want to cry, you might not be as open to it. But, if you can make people laugh, if you can get their guard down, then it comes even more of a surprise when you do throw that stuff in there, and it can almost hit even harder harder than just in a straight drama, just really sad the whole time. So I really like that sentiment. So
yeah, totally.
We have technically one last question for the script. However, some of our personal questions kind of apply. And this is more of a fun one. So what theme does Kendall choose for the party now? Obviously, it was supposed to be puppy themed, but does that change?
Well, she's got her new puppy.
That's exactly what Lauren said when I first wrote the question.
So maybe it's new beginnings or something along those lines. But
the circle of life.
Yes, it becomes a Lion King party very quickly.
There you go.
But
I love the idea of a 5-year-old having a new beginnings birthday party. It's a good one. That is fantastic. So yeah, now let's jump into sort of those personal questions that we were talking about. Questions about you. And this first one definitely has to do with the script as well. So this is kind of a big one. What would you do if you are the parents of young Kendall? You find the dog deceased. What do you do? Do you try to find a replacement? Do you tell them the truth? Do you say they went to live on a farm? What's sort of your strategy for this?
Yeah, ultimately I'd want to tell my child the truth. I think sitting in this position of privilege without a child and without that really happening, I can easily say, oh, of course I tell them the truth. I think, it's tricky. I think I've definitely put a lot more of myself into Kevin, and I think I exist in sort of a rational plane of like, let's tell her the truth, and Santa's not real, and why do we have to lie about that? And so I definitely think I'm on Kevin's team of like, we just got to sit her down and tell her the truth, and she's going to cry for 2 days, and this might ruin her birthday, but she's 5 years old, and she's probably not going to remember her 5th birthday very well. So I think, yeah, that's where I exist, is tell them the truth, quickly.
See, I want so bad to say that I would do that same thing. And once again, sitting here right now, I can say it and I'll be like, yeah, whatever, I tell him the truth. But somewhere deep down, I have a feeling I'd be Stella in that situation, in the backyard, just digging, trying to bury this dog and then find a new one.
I feel like I'm definitely the Kevin in this situation.
You're definitely the Kevin.
Yeah.
And I think by default that makes me the Stella.
Yeah.
So just catch me in my athleisure in the backyard, digging a hole.
Yeah, so this is another script adjacent question, I guess. But at what age did you find out that Santa Claus wasn't real, and also, the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, all that?
Yeah, so I assumed this question would happen. My parents never did Santa. They just that was not a thing that they chose to lie to their children about. It was kind of always mom and dad gave you gifts, which caused issues sometimes in classrooms, especially my older brother, who's a little bit peskier. I don't know what the right word is, but he loves to ruin kids' days during Christmas time.
No.
To be like, actually, I know Santa's not real. But that meant that we got a lot of long talks about like, come on, let kids have their fun. They'll find out when they do. My next door neighbor believed in Santa for a really long time. And so we just, we existed in 2 different worlds, but sort of acknowledged the same common truth of like, Christmas is Christmas and gifts are gifts, and appreciate the person who gave them to you. So I never grew up with Santa. And that I think was better ultimately, allowed me to be more grateful for my parents every year.
No, that's definitely fair. I mean, we had like a few locked closets in our houses, and I just really enjoyed bending a paperclip and getting into them. And so when I was like 8, I found the closet where my parents hid the Christmas presents. And yeah, that was kind of my realization. But I waited like a year or so before I told my younger sisters, but I didn't tell my parents that I found out, because I thought I did think that, oh, well, if they think I don't believe in Santa, they'll stop giving me gifts. So I don't want to.
You played it smart there. I actually have kind of a funny story about the Tooth Fairy specifically. So I have no idea how old I was. I was obviously pretty young, and it was around the time when I like lost another tooth. And, you know, I think I heard my parents talking about it or something. And then, so they were kind of like forced to tell me. And they were like, okay, Jackson, you know, the tooth fairy, you know, it's someone whose name starts with an M. My mom said this. My mom. And then in my mind, we had a family friend named Michelle. So in my mind, I was like, Michelle's the tooth fairy? And my mother was like, no, Jackson, it's me, your mother. So that was my experience with being told about the tooth fairy.
Funny.
I think that's
I actually did a whole thing with the tooth fairy where I wanted to test and see if the tooth fairy was real. So I lost a teeth that was like farther in the back of my mouth, and I didn't tell anyone for like 2 days.
You slick.
Yeah,
Slick like
and
that.
I was like, oh, no tooth fairy. And then once I told people, then I had something under the pillow, you know? Like, so that was how I found out the tooth fairy wasn't real.
It doesn't mean the tooth fairy's not real. It just means she needs communication too, Lauren, just like everyone else. But
Yeah, you send letters to Santa. Your parents got to send a beacon out to the tooth fairy.
Exactly.
There you go.
The tooth fairy signal. So speaking of my mother, she'll be very happy that I'm asking you this. Do you have a dog, or have you had a dog? And if so, what kind and what is their name?
Another excellent question. Both my brother and my dad were super allergic, and all I wanted as a kid were dogs. And so I never had one, and have still never had one. I think recently I discovered I might be a little bit allergic as well.
Oh, no.
But I, grew up for a long time wanting to be a veterinarian and loved animals and still love animals. And so always, I've never had one. But let me think. The kind of dog that I would want.
Exactly our next question.
I'd want a big dog, something I can just like wrestle with and play with, and one that catches a frisbee. I'm a big frisbee guy, so definitely need a frisbee dog for sure.
A frisbee catching dog.
Yeah.
I feel like I would want, because I've also never had a dog. I grew up with fish. But I want like a giant slobbery Saint Bernard, which is not the best thing for someone living in Southern California.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Maybe someday moving back somewhere cold. Yeah, because growing up, we had two small dogs for most of my childhood. We had a Boston Terrier and then a Dachshund mix. But then recently, I guess I was still in high school or I just got in college. We got a boxer named Panda.
Ooh.
So that's the dog we have now. And yeah, I love big dogs. I love small dogs. Give them all.
I like all the dogs.
Yeah, exactly.
All of the dogs, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the only other thing that we have, one more question. Stella and Kevin activate their fight or flight here, right? They kind of have to make a game time decision of, okay, are we going to tell the truth or are we going to replace the dog? So are you more of a fight or a flight guy?
Or I think there's a third option now, right? Because there's freeze. I realized I didn't write that down in the question.
Freeze. You're right. You're right.
So which do you fall under?
I think I'm so glad you put freeze in there. I think I'm a flight until I have thought about it, and then I get angry hours later, and I'm like, oh, I should have fought. Like, so I like to think I'm a fight, but I'm definitely a flight. Definitely more of a avoid the confrontation and send the text or the Instagram message later about like, hey, actually, this is why you were wrong, and I looked up facts about it, and I hope that maybe we can come to an agreement on this at some point. And then like a heart emoji or whatever. Yeah, very inappropriate.
You do your
LOL,
research,
so they know that you're kidding.
Yeah. You do your research. You're a researched fighter, if you will.
There you go.
What do you think you are, Lauren?
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like if it's just getting in an argument or having a confrontation, I'm probably more of a fight person. But if it would be like a physical confrontation, I'm probably more of a flight until all else fails person.
Yeah, I think it's tough because like I think like my very basest instinct, and I guess it depends on the situation, is a bit of freeze, but then if I have like any time to think about it, then I think I'll go into fight. But I think my very base is just like freeze, like what is happening, assess situation.
Sure,
okay,
sure.
now let's go. So if I have time, yeah. So I guess a slightly researched fighter.
Yeah, I don't know. I just have a hard time holding my tongue sometimes if someone makes me mad. So
What?
Hey, Jackson.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Well, we're having a Stella and Kevin moment here, I guess. No.
So there'll be some real feelings put into this script reading.
Yeah,
man,
exactly. But yeah, thank you so much, man, for coming on. Those were all of our questions. I guess first, do you have any questions for us that you would like to ask on air?
Oh man, I don't know. I wasn't expecting this. I haven't. And none of the episodes I've listened to have had the writer ask questions.
Yeah, well, we first
actually had one last week. So.
Yeah, we first had it happen last week, so this is new for us too. So I figured I would offer just in case.
No, that's awesome. I assume you guys started this because of quarantine. Like, what was like the inspiration? What were those conversations that happened?
Yeah, I actually thought about starting this back when I was in college. So it was, a good year or two before quarantine started. And I had wanted to do it, when I got settled down in a city after graduating, and ideally, I was going to be able to run this thing with Jackson and, invite all of my actor friends in the area over, and we would all record stuff. And then we finally got the time to start it in quarantine, but instead we've mostly been recording with either our housemates in person or, actors over Zoom and stuff like that.
Yeah. So new friends. But yeah. So Lauren, the brainchild of this operation, really.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And addition, do you have anything you would like to plug? Anything coming up in your life?
Oh man, nothing really like coming up. If people want to watch the movies that I make, because I direct them as well. I'm Matthew Rodgers on YouTube. My film Poppy Seed, which is like quarantine is certainly a time vacuum, but it's been almost a year since I've released it.
Wow.
But that's out on YouTube. That is the kind of the one drama that I have written.
Ooh.
Okay.
But it's a movie that I love and I'm super proud of, and the cast was amazing, and I'm very grateful to know them and have them in my life, and to have all the people who work on it and do so well. So yeah, Matthew Rodgers, Poppy Seed.
Absolutely.
Check it out on YouTube.
If Lauren and I and we will do this, we're gonna find that. We're gonna put a link in our description. So if you want to watch any of Matthew's works, Poppy Seed, etc., then go there.
Out.
You can find that. All right, Matthew.
There you go.
Thank you so much, man. We really appreciate it. Had a lot of fun, as I'm sure we did reading your script, even though we technically haven't done it yet. However, I'm sure we did, as
Future
everyone...
us will have fun.
Future us will have so much fun. So thanks so much for coming on, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was awesome.
Yeah, all right. Have a good one. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.